Look at the weather.
It's beautiful here.
Non-stop rain.
Oh, man, it is a blazer out there.
It's cold and it's shivery.
It is cold.
Really coming down here.
I really enjoy your weather reports.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, we're talking weather in a whole new way. From historical events to what's coming up, plus weather news, science, safety, fun facts, and more.
I like where this is going.
This is Weather Weekly. Weather Weekly with Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey.
It is episode number 68. I am your host, Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey. Good to be with you. Welcome to the month of May. Big one here in central Indiana, both with weather and with sports, which we'll talk about just in a little bit, as we typically do in the first podcast of the month. We do a look ahead at the month of May, or the upcoming month, I should say, and look back on some historical May events that have happened here in central Indiana. Boy, do we have a lot of them up ahead. So we're going to look ahead to that. Did want to do a quick recap here. It's been very active the last several days, central Indiana included in that, although we've kind of dodged the severe weather bullet. Go back to Saturday, which was the last day of April, where we did have a risk for some stronger storms, but had some kind of late afternoon, early evening convection, and that really kind of dampened the for lack of a better term, the severe weather aspect of the late night hours when this line kind of moved on through. So we avoided any significant severe weather. It's been very active in the plains. There have been several rounds of severe weather over the last few days. Of course, that dates back to over the weekend and late last week, the tornado that's been well documented just outside of Wichita, Kansas. Fortunately, no major injuries, just some minor injuries, no fatalities, but a lot of video from that tornado. If you go over social media, doesn't matter where you go, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok even, a lot of video from that tornado. Out toward Wichita. It's kind of a suburban area just outside of Wichita. So thankfully, no one was significantly hurt in that. But now kind of ramping up the severe weather season, not just for us here in central Indiana, but May typically is the garners the most severe weather reports across the country, because you're kind of, and we talked about this last week when, in that question is Tornado Alley shifting? Look, Central Plains still gets its fair share of severe weather. And so now as we're kind of winding down the severe weather season for the Deep South, at least their first severe weather season, that now shifts to the Central Plains, where May is really prime time for the Central High Plains, or what, we typically used to call Tornado Alley. So keep an eye on that, and we'll talk about it in the forecast. But there's several more opportunities for severe weather out towards the Central Plains here for this first full week of the month of May. Speaking of the month of May, we're going to talk about the month of May, what the forecast brings, what kind of severe weather we can expect, and some historical events that have happened during the month of May here in central Indiana. That's coming up next on Weather Weekly.
Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. When it comes to what kind of romance you're into, you don't have to choose just one. Fancy a dalliance with a duke, or maybe a steamy billionaire. You could find a book boyfriend in the city and another one tearing it up on the hockey field. And if nothing on this earth satisfies, you can always find love in another realm. Discover modern rom-coms from authors like Lily Chu and Ali Hazelwood, the latest romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, plus Regency favorites like Bridgerton and Outlander. And of course, all the really steamy stuff. Your first great love story is free when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
It is episode number 68. Good to be with you here as we open up the month of May. Super excited about it. One of my favorite months here growing up in Indiana, not only as a weather nut, because this is kind of the meat of the severe weather season here, but as a sports fan, the thing gets better. And, we can argue, but I don't think there's anything better than the entirety of the month of May here in Indianapolis, and really for the entire state in general, because everybody just kind of really embraces, even if you're not a diehard race fan, the Indianapolis 500 and the tradition that it embodies over Memorial Day weekend. And so that's coming up at the end of the month, but it really is a month-long celebration. So super excited about it. Of course, this is the first podcast of the month. So as we typically do, we do a little bit of a preview and look back on some historical weather events for the month of May. Did want to give a brief recap on the month of April. Nothing too extraordinary. We did run on the cooler side. Average temperature was 51.5, good for 55th coolest on record. Actually, a couple of years ago, we were just a tad cooler in 2020. A lot of us don't remember that because we were all locked inside for the month of April that year. And prior to that, I think the coolest since 2018, that was the 8th coolest of 47.1. So, a little on the cool side, but not, exceptional. In terms of precipitation for the year, we picked up 4.42 inches of rainfall. Kind of just puts us on the higher end a little bit. It's tied for 43rd wettest. And the wettest since, thinking on the fly here, but looking at the records, the wettest since, it's actually been a little while, I believe 2019, when we had 4.96 inches of rainfall. And April, one of the months where, you pick up a decent amount of rain, average around 4.34, so we were slightly above average for this time. Of course, we did pick up a little bit more average snow. We were over an inch for the entire month. And our average is about 0.2. We did pick up our second snowiest day of the winter. But it's interesting that, basically we've concluded the snow season now. I guess we could pick up a flurry here early on, but it doesn't appear that way. About 11 inches of snow total, which is well below the average. Annual total is around 25.5 inches. So way, way, way below, even though we had that one big snow. That was really about it. So not an unusual April by any stretch, kind of just your typical average days. We did have a couple of severe weather events, including a tornado that was confirmed in southeastern Indiana in the middle of the month. And that's really about it. Looking ahead to the month of May, May is the second wettest month on record. 4.75 inches of rainfall is what we typically average for the month. It only is topped by the month of June next month. Usually the wettest month, just shy of 5 inches of rainfall on average. The average high, 73.4. The average low, 53.7. And we average 0.0 inches of snowfall. That will be the case until October. So there's some good news for you as we look ahead to the month of May. Also, May, typically one of the more active severe weather months that we have on record. And climatologically speaking, as a whole across the country, it is one of the more active seasons on our months on record too. So May can be pretty wild in terms of severe weather, because you're kind of you're right in the middle ground of that transitional period. April, obviously, you get some really big swings. But May, you get some moderate swings, but you're getting a lot of waves that are coming out of the plains. We're already kind of seeing that here early on this week with some of the severe weather that's happened in the plains. And then we the risk lowers a bit as it gets to the Midwest, but the chances are certainly there. So we'll probably see more of those kind of waves as we go through. The next several weeks here. All right. So, looking ahead to some interesting dates. We do this a lot. We go back through the Weather Service archive and just kind of walk you through some interesting things. And obviously, this is going to be very tornado or severe weather event heavy for the month of May. There is a lot of them. All right. So let's kick it off. In 2002, on the 1st, in Bloomfield, heavy rain from a thunderstorm washed out culverts and a driveway. Also on the 1st, in Lindsborg, Montgomery County, EF1 tornado causes nearly $50,000 in damage. In 1983 on the 2nd, winds up to 80 miles per hour, blows out some windows in downtown Indianapolis. In 1990 on the 3rd, severe thunderstorms bring damaging winds and golf ball size hail to southern parts of central Indiana. On the 4th, 1977, a tornado destroys a barn and damages houses near Cutler in Carroll County. In 1971, a tornado, this is on the 6th, tornado skips across Knox and Davies counties, destroying a house and 3 mobile homes in addition to other damage. In 1986 on the 7th in Rushville, a tornado breaks windows and houses and knocks down a tree. In 1923 on the 8th at Indianapolis, 9 inches of snow is the latest spring measurable snow on record for the city. I'm sorry, did I say 9 inches? 9/10 of an inch. So nearly an inch of snow. Sorry. Not getting 9 inches of snow in the month of May. 9/10 of an inch of snow. Latest spring measurable snow on record for the city. That was on the 8th, back in 1923. On the 9th, 2000, a squall line moves across central Indiana, producing widespread tree damage, localized structural damage, and numerous reports of golf ball size hail. In 2003 on the 10th, an EF0, I guess it was an F0 back then, tornado touched down near Cloverdale in Putnam County, dropping a tree on a car and a house. On the 11th, 1993, at Muncie, a 16-year-old near a pond is struck by lightning. The teen is hospitalized, but quickly recovers. In 1886, on the 12th, from Williamsport to northeast of Attica, a tornado said to sound like a roar of a great waterfall strikes, killing 5 people and injuring 12. It is said that at Attica, in just 5 minutes, 200 homes were destroyed. A second tornado in Wilkinson takes 2 more lives and injures 12 more. In 2009, on the 13th, at Indianapolis, thunderstorm winds blow down a 31-foot radio tower, 31-foot tall radio tower, I should say. In 1972, on the 14th, a tornado causes non-continuous damage from Indianapolis to near Mechanicsburg. Damage is estimated at $2 million. 1990, on the 16th, wave after wave of thunderstorms dumps up to 8 inches of rain in southern Indiana, eventually causing extensive flooding to the White and Wabash rivers. In 1991, on the 17th, at Lebanon, thunderstorm wind gusts are up to 87 miles per hour. In 1927, on the 18th, at Indianapolis, a killer tornado accompanied by high straight line winds moves through the heart of the city. 2 boys die and up to 200 people are injured. The worst destruction occurs in the east central part of the city, where 16 solid blocks are devastated. In 1949, on the 21st, 2 tornadoes kill 17 people and injure over 200 more. Most of the deaths and injuries occur when a tornado hits the west side of Shelburne. In 1978, on the 23rd, a small tornado damages a farm near Cortland in Jackson County. In 1998, on the 24th, at Carmel, lightning strikes 5 area homes, starting fires. In 1975, on the 25th, a tornado carves a 3-mile-long path along or through Brown County State Park, downing many trees. In 2011, on the 25th, near Greensburg Airport, 2 EF1 tornadoes caused $750,000 damage near Erie in Jennings County. An EF3 tornado touchdown. In 1961, on the 27th, low temperatures below freezing marked the latest spring freeze on record in Indianapolis. That was on the 27th in 1961. On the 28th, 1883, from west of Clay City to Adams, a tornado that moves across the central part of the state kills 11 people, including 2 who were seeking shelter under a bridge across the Eel River when the bridge was demolished. In 1982, on the 29th, severe thunderstorm winds caused several injuries at a campground in Lawrence County. In 2004, on the 30th, one of the largest tornado outbreaks in Indiana history occurs. 23 tornadoes struck the state. Again, that was in 2004 on the 30th. I have referenced that one, I think, several times in the podcast. That was also the same year that we had my storm chase trip. We were out in the plains then, but coming off probably our best storm chase day, that system then moved into central Indiana. That 30th, 2004, there was a tornado warning that was just west of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and ended up preempting the race because people had to seek shelter and there was some very heavy rain. I believe it also delayed the Eastern Conference Finals with the Pacers and the Pistons because there was a tornado reported and actually observed and did damage on the south side of Indianapolis, so not far from what was then known as Conseco Fieldhouse. Lastly, on the 31st, 1941 at Indianapolis, the driest spring, March to May, on record for the city ends with a total of only 4.15 inches of rainfall. That was back in 1941. So you get a little bit of everything, but you had a lot of severe weather reports there for the month of May. So it's a good time to be ready, be weather alert as we go into what will be a busy month. We've already had some rounds of thunderstorms this week, and we may have a few more storms. Will any of those turn severe? We'll break that down in the first full week of the month of May forecast that's coming up next here on Weather Weekly. Here's a look at the forecast for the first full week of the month of May. We've already had kind of an active start with some thunderstorms, rain on Tuesday. For Wednesday, at least the rest of the day, will be cooler, but should be dry with mostly cloudy skies and temperatures into the mid-60s. We're going to fluctuate those temperatures a bit. I do think we get closer to 70 as we head into the late week. Thursday and Friday, near 70. There will be some rain chances. It looks like Thursday night, and Friday does appear wet, scattered showers and storms. At this point, it doesn't appear like we'll be getting severe weather for Friday. We'll keep you updated on that. Could linger on into very early Saturday morning, pre-daybreak in terms of rain chances, but both days for the weekend I think are going to be dry. A little bit on the cooler side for Saturday, mid-60s, but should be ideal running weather for those participating in the Indy Mini Marathon. Back in full force for the first time since the pandemic on Saturday morning through the streets of downtown Indianapolis, stretching all the way to the west side out toward the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Mother's Day looks ideal. Sunshine and highs in the mid-70s, and it does look like we see a return to temperatures into the low and maybe even mid-80s by Monday and Tuesday of next week. And I think the 80s may stick around for a little while. So maybe starting to turn that corner, right? The 8 to 14 day outlook, which will take us to the middle of the month. Strong signal for above average temperatures and near normal precipitation. The updated May outlook for the month of May, equal chances of either going above or below average temperatures and equal chances for above or below average precipitation as well. So no real strong signals either way for the entirety of the month. But it looks like at least for the first half of the month overall, with the exception of maybe a couple of days here and there, again, Wednesday and then Saturday, we should see numbers running above average and maybe well above average. Normal high for early May, typically around 70 degrees or lower 70s. So something to look forward to for those of you that have been really wanting some of that summer heat to kind of stick around. I think we may get there at least for the next couple of weeks. So be on guard for that. Be on guard for severe weather as well. Good time to download our Storm Track 8 weather app. Not only can you get interactive radar, but you get the hour-by-hour forecast. And most important, especially this time of year, as we talked about, man, you can just get about everything in the month of May in terms of severe weather. And it can be quite active. Weather alerts based on your location. Look, I'm a baseball dad. I coach my son's teams. We bounce around a lot, and it's just good to know and have that peace of mind that I can get an alert while I'm not necessarily paying attention to radar, and get an alert based on my location if I'm not near home. So I can get an alert whether we're getting severe weather back at my house, or I can get an alert based on where my phone is located, which is usually on my body. So it's a good handy tool, and it's free. So make sure to check that out in your phone's app store. Just search for Wish TV Weather. Thanks for tagging along here on this episode of Weather Weekly. Always appreciate your time. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, comments, concerns, or if you have an idea that you'd like for me to tackle here on Weather Weekly, shoot me an email, marcus.bailey@wishtv.com. You can also hit me up on social media at Marcus Bailey on Twitter and Marcus Bailey Weather on Facebook and Instagram as well. Love to hear your comments. While you're here, make sure you check out all the other great podcasts, part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. Have a great week.
Discover more from Storm Track 8 Weather and Wish TV. Online at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Plus, be sure to check out more great podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.